long time. Her 24th season as the head coach in Corvallis, a couple of Pac-12 championships, and she has continued on the tradition. Oregon State has gone to the postseason 45 years in a row. So I know UCLA has the Olympians, they have the national titles, but Oregon State has a long and rich history in gymnastics as well. And it's all about patience. And with Tanya Chaplin at the beginning of this year, a young team in a strange season, so you have to wait for it. And early on, they posted some scores, especially that 191. People said, what's going on in Corvallis? But look how quickly it jumps to the 194, almost to 195 the second time out. Then they go almost 196. The meet at Washington, they had a couple of problems. They had an injury and a couple of falls. Then they come right back against California, who was a top 10 team, and go 196-2. So now they're looking to go over that mark. And here's the thing, Janae, that I've always loved about gymnastics. Nobody votes on gymnastics. It's all done by numbers. So your ranking is your average. And to me, it's the fairest of all the sports. Oregon State is a team that looks to me that they can hit a 197 if everything comes together.
I completely agree. As you mentioned, the scores keep jumping from meet to meet to meet, and once they really dial in on those landings and get everything consistent, they can easily hit a 196, 197 even.
So Michael Chaplin, the associate head coach, and the UCLA graduate, like his wife, a U.S. national team member and a two-time All-American as well. In Corvallis, they draw well, 5,000-6,000 for home meets. The gymnasts are a big deal in a college town, and this program has a lot of support. I would think teams like Utah and UCLA can overcome not having a crowd. I think teams like Oregon State, they need that crowd to pick them up, especially with young gymnasts. So now we're going to switch ends, and Oregon State moves over to the vault. Now this is their best event nationally. They are ranked 13th. They are 4-1. Their only loss to California last week. And the Dagens, Lacey Dagen and Maddie Dagen, have combined to win 4 individual titles in 5 meets. So we'll keep an eye on the Dagens. They're at the back end of the lineup. Oregon State's going to lead off with Kayla Byrd. We just saw Byrd go 9-8 on the bars for Oregon State. UCLA leads the meet by 0.4 right now, so it's a comfortable lead after the first rotation, but it was expected. Here comes Kayla Byrd.
Kayla's been so incredibly consistent for the Beavers. Amazing first vault, Yurchenko full.
She's been stuck in the 9.7s. I'd like to see them reward her with something around 9.8.
You can see she has really great form. She does keep her body stretched until the very end, packed a little bit, but I completely agree. I think it should be better than a 9.7.
Her best, the 9.775 against Washington in the first meeting with the Gym Dogs. That was in Corvallis, and they saw each other 2 weeks later in Seattle. Shea Campbell had a 9.8 on vault for UCLA. Campbell now moves to the bars. Now she's good across the board, but this has been her least consistent event. Career high 9.85 came against BYU a couple of weeks ago right here.
She is such a strong swinger. Started off the routine with a great handstand. Very clean form, and it's really impressive to be in the leadoff position as a freshman because it really sets the tone for the rest of the rotation.
It's a great point. The inward dismount, the blind landing, she holds on to it. Current Pac-12 Freshman of the Week, second time this year she has been awarded that title.
Here's the dismount, a blind landing, as I mentioned, much more difficult. You see she's ready for it. She just takes that slight little step back.
Yeah, they'll take that. 9.825 for Kayla Byrd. So for Kayla Byrd, well, that's a career high for Kayla Byrd. Christina Peterson.
Very unique vault. She does a Yurchenko, but does a full twist onto the table. Way more difficult.
I started to panic until I realized you knew what was coming, and so I calmed down. That caught me a little bit. Christina Peterson, nice work.
So you're going to see right here, she does a Yurchenko, but she's going to twist her body completely 360, push off, and tuck it in. And she was ready for that landing.
Well, that is unique because she's fighting her own momentum as she approaches the table.
We are going to see that again. I'll prep you.
Thank you for the warning. Peterson had a 9.75 on the bars in the first rotation, so she's off to a good start today. 9.85 for Campbell. And that equals a career high for Shea Campbell on bars. Savvy Koyman gets a little chat with Chris Waller before she mounts the apparatus.
She's really stepped into her leadership role. She explained how she leads by example. And she truly has grown and matured in these past 4 years.
Koyman was in the bars lineup the first 4 meets, but she didn't compete last week at Utah. Her best so far, a 9.825 at Arizona.
Another gymnast that is very fluid from high bar to low bar. Had a huge swing after that pack salto. Beautiful handstand. Double layout with a stick.
Most likely the only time we'll see Savvy Koyman today. She got her money's worth.
Here's the dismount, and she actually changed it. She used to do a full twisting double back, but I think this suits her way better. Keeps her body stretched, and she knew exactly where she was.
Just before a routine, talk to Waller. Just after a routine, they meet once again. 9.85, Christina Peterson. And that is a career high for Peterson. So we're seeing a lot of gymnasts post new marks now. Caitlin Yanish.
Beautiful Yurchenko full. A lot of height and distance, and you can see her form was exquisite throughout the whole entire vault.
Yanish has found some consistency on this event. 9.8 plus every time out. 9.875 last week against Cal, her top mark.
She gets a great block off the table, and you can also see that she keeps her body completely stretched. And just the slightest hop back, but I think that's going to be a great score.
She was third on this event against California last week. And of course, when you talk about Yanish, the temptation is to go right to the vault where she's undefeated at 5-0 and fourth in the nation. Back-to-back 9.85s for the Bruins, Campbell and Koyman. Sarah Julius, the freshman from Thousand Oaks. 4-time up this year on the uneven bars. In Utah, she finished second on this event with a 9.875. It was a real breakout, and Waller talked about it after the meet. Now she's got to follow it up at home.
It was the biggest, most beautiful straddle Jaeger I've ever seen. Sarah brings exquisite lines to the uneven bars, and I'm so happy that she's able to break into the lineup. Beautiful handstand into a stalter, double tuck, another stick.
So off the 9.875 where she finished second at Utah, and that is a big accomplishment.
Now look at this release move. Nice bail. Beautiful stalter. Very difficult to do at the end of your routine.
At the club level, this was Sarah's event. She was top 3 at the 10 regionals a couple of years in a row. And so when she came to UCLA, we knew we would see her on this event. She's also dabbled in the floor just a little bit, but that's really the event that got her to Westwood. And now maybe you see why.
Same vault as from Christina.
Sydney Gonzalez going off the side of the table, and we saw that from her last week at Washington as well.
So she did the same thing, Yurchenko full twisting onto the table. She was a bit crooked, but she did pike at the end.
Oh, that right hand just on the edge of the table, almost on the bend of the table.
I believe she recovered well.
Well, coming into this meet, 4 of her 5 scores on vault have been 9.8 plus, so it's been a good event for her. 9.85 her best score. And look at Sarah Julius with a 9.925. So back-to-back career highs on uneven bars for Sarah Julius. A star is born?
A star is born.
Where'd that come from? That's fantastic. Good for Sarah. Boy, both sides going back and forth. And again, it goes back to our theme. Both coming off losses, both teams. But both teams psyched about the way they performed last week. And they're carrying it into this meet.
Frida is another athlete that's very clean on this event. bringing that elite training into college. Only does one giant.
Hop back on the landing. She has 2 wins. A 9-9 against BYU and Arizona State in each of those meets to win.
That right there was the Shaposh half. She does something interesting. She only does 1 giant before her dismount. Most gymnasts do 2.
Part of the 2018 Mexican national team. She was the all-around champion, as a matter of fact, for Mexico in 2018. 9.75 for Sydney Gonzalez again. If you're new to gymnastics, or if, like me, you forget most of what you learn each week, compete 6, but you only have to count 5 scores. Back to the vault. Now we're into the Dagens.
Beautiful Yurchenko full. Actually competed with Lacey back in club in level 7, and it's just been amazing to watch her in her college career and really grow into the athlete that she has become.
She's ranked 14th, but this is only her 3rd vault of the season. Had a 9.9 against Cal last week. That's a season high for her. And had a 9.85 against Washington the week prior to that.
Such a beautiful form. Look at that Dagen duo right there.
Lacey Dagen, redshirt freshman, and Maddie Dagen, the sophomore. And both really good on this event.
Actually, Lacey's a senior. She's a 6th year.
Yeah, sorry. I have a typo. I was correcting it as you said it. Back to the bars, Nia Dennis.
A chance to talk to Nia about her shoulder surgery, because she had surgery about 7 months ago, and she did whatever it took to come back and contribute for this team, to compete with no pain. She wants to be a natty champ, she says. Double A out. And knows how to sell that landing.
Nia was not in the bars lineup to start the year, but we expected it. An All-American last year on this event. Already has a win. Won last week at Utah with a 9.9, and this is going to be right there.
Here's the dismount. And she already knew where she was. She threw her hands right up. No need to check if we're going to stick. She already knows it, which I think is really cool.
And Nia Dennis has already posted a 9.925 on vault. Go from Lacey Dagen to Maddie Dagen.
Yurchenko 1.5, and I think that's the best one she's done this year. 10.0 start value. That was beautiful. And I mentioned before the Dagen duo. Tanya Chaplin mentioned how they complement each other very well.
Well, it's been a strange year for Maddie Dagen on the vault. She started out the first 3 meets and won each one. Was ranked number 2 in the country, then had back-to-back falls. So kind of getting back on the horse, but you see what she's capable of. Nia Dennis goes 9.95. 9.95 on the bars, ties a career high for Nia Dennis. Marta Frazier.
An aggressive swinger.
All of her scores have been 9.8 or better until last week when she got just a 9.75 at Utah. Expect more here.
She really held that handstand.
She sure did.
Letting the judges know there's nothing to take. And again, she's going to sell this landing.
Oh, look at that. That is confidence. Well, that's an upperclassman right there. You know, she was disappointed in Salt Lake City last week. Wasn't going to let it happen 2 weeks in a row.
Yep.
And she owned that routine. B.J. Doss, choreographer for UCLA, right in the middle of all the gymnasts. And UCLA, another good rotation. So the Bruins continue to prove that they're better than that number 13 ranking, way over 49. Could be a season best. Give you the numbers as we come back.